Did you know the EU is the second biggest democracy in the world, representing 450 million people? This video will explore what the European Union is, what it does, and who controls it. So what is the European Union? The European Union is a political and economic union of 27 European countries with common goals and values. It is a unique entity as it is neither a country nor a federation, but rather a supranational organization that exercises some of the powers typically associated with national governments. For those unaware, supranational refers to a level of organization that is above and transcends national governments. What this means is that the EU's member states have transferred some of their sovereignty to the EU in order to jointly address issues such as trade, security, and social policy. The EU comprises of 7 main institutions, including the European Council, the Council of the European Union, the European Commission, the Court of Justice of the European Union, the European Central Bank, the Court of Auditors, and finally, the European Parliament. For those interested in learning more, we have separate videos that will provide detailed explanations of each of these institutions, so subscribe to the channel if you are interested. So what does the European Union actually do? The EU has a lot of functions, but there are 3 main ones. Firstly, the EU promotes economic integration. The EU operates a single market, which allows goods, services, capital, and people to move freely across national borders. For example, a company based in Germany can sell its products to customers in France without facing any barriers to trade. The EU also negotiates trade agreements with other countries on behalf of its member states. For example, the EU has signed trade agreements with countries such as Japan, Canada, and South Korea. Secondly, the EU develops and implements common policies in various areas, such as agriculture, environment, energy, and transport. For example, the EU has a common agricultural policy, which provides financial support to farmers and helps to ensure a stable supply of food across the EU. Or the EU's common energy policy, which aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and ensure a secure supply of energy. Thirdly, the EU is committed to protecting fundamental human rights, such as the right of freedom of expression, privacy, and non-discrimination. For example, the EU's General Data Protection Regulation, where companies must obtain users' consent before collecting and using their personal data. So who controls the EU? This is complicated, as the European Union has no official single leader, but is instead broken down into 7 institutions that share power. The 3 main ones are the European Commission, the European Parliament, and the European Council, each with a different leader. However, the President of the European Commission is the closest candidate to a leader of the EU, as they stand at the head of the ship, driving EU legislation and representing the EU on the international stage. Currently, this is Ursula von der Leyen. In conclusion, the EU is important, as it allows European countries to collectively wield more influence on the global stage, particularly in relation to major powers such as China, Russia, and the United States. And so, while many different aspects contribute to what makes up the European Union, it all comes down to one idea: working together towards creating a better future for Europe's citizens. This channel is all about the EU, so if you want more educational videos about institutions or EU current events, subscribe and like the video. And if you want to support the channel further, please consider signing up to Patreon.